All right, Coach, cross-country season is upon us. Your first, action with your student athletes. Thoughts so far on how you've settled in?
Coming out of camp, I think the attitudes have been really good. The work ethic's been really good. There's still a lot of work that we need to do, and obviously we're not race tested yet. But hopefully this week we'll get to go to A&M and bust the rust off a little bit and get to racing. Hopefully, there's been some bad weather up there, so.
Your first 10 days with the team, what kind of things have you been able to implement from your system that you want to see them, build upon?
We put in some longer sustained running, some harder efforts for longer durations, and some of that I think is fairly new to them, but they've taken to it pretty well. I think we've definitely seen some areas where we need to get better, where we need to get stronger, so that'll take time. But coming out of camp, I believe that they understand what they need to do to continue to improve and have some idea of how we need to get better as a team.
Going into your first season, what's your expectations for both the men and the women?
I try not to put in too many expectations as far as like places and finishes and things like that, because we can't control what anyone else does. But I did ask the team about a week ago in camp what they wanted to achieve, and ultimately they want to be a top 3 team in the conference and hopefully a top 10 team in the region. And so those are kind of some immediate goals that we have. I think we're not going to have the depth on the women's side as we've had in the past. We're going to redshirt a couple of the girls and hopefully build for the future. And on the guys' side, we're very young, so maybe we don't have the depth that we want to have in the future, but that's okay. We've got a lot of young talent, and I think the key is going to be staying healthy, staying consistent, and just racing as a team.
The women had a fantastic year last year, getting their first regional ranking. You mentioned being young. How did they build off of that though, from last year to this year?
Well, I think there's a lot of good championship experience there. I think just talking to some of the girls, they have high goals, and we're going to need a few girls to step up this year, which I think they're ready for that challenge. They've been looking really good in practice. But yeah, we need to get out there and start racing, figure out what kind of team we are.
And how about on the men's side? You got a couple of returners who are leading the way. What do you want to see from them, and who has looked good to you?
Well, I'm really excited about Alberto and Matthew Penato. Those two guys have really taken charge, and you can tell that they've done their work over the summer. And I think the biggest thing for them and the men's team is going to be bringing along the freshmen. And hopefully closing that gap between 1 and 5, which can be tough to do over an 8K and 10K distance. For those freshmen to step up and do that, it's a lot to ask. But we're going to try to close that gap the best we can, and I know it's going to be a big learning year for everybody, learning and growing year. That's really the big expectation and really the big hope for the season.
Now, you mentioned staying healthy is one of the keys. But how about on the track? What kind of keys do you see them needing to be successful this year?
For the freshmen specifically, or?
Well, for the team in general.
I think a lot of it's just going to be adjusting to the kind of system that I've run, in the past, and I think a lot of it is it's different. There's definitely some different aspects to it. As far as them staying healthy, the weight room is going to be a huge thing. That's something we've implemented and are very serious about. And and they are working very hard in the weight room, which is good. That's going to be a good part of setting up their foundation, especially for this fall, moving on into the track season where they can stay healthy and handle all the mileage and handle all the work that we're putting on them. So, I think that's going to be a key to keeping this young group healthy.